Our gospel today is a little challenging, we might say. I feel like we've had a string of some harder gospels. Jesus is basically telling us today, just do what you're told. And maybe it's from my own childhood, but I don't like being told what to do. Maybe you can relate to that. Just do what you're told can sometimes be kind of hard, for us. So we compare this gospel with other messages of Jesus where he says, no longer do I call you servants, I call you friends. But here he's just saying, just be a servant. Just do what I tell you to do. And perhaps these two truths are really important for us to keep together. If we have one without the other, we might not really see what Jesus is getting at, what he's driving at in this gospel today. That we do actually have to begin with just doing what we're told, what's expected of us. And maybe that's the foundation that can open us up to some of the other things that the Lord does for us in our Christian journey. I remember having a certain professor in seminary, Sister Catherine Drosty. She was from Iowa. She was a Dominican nun, and she was fiery. And she was one of the best professors I ever had, just an incredible teacher. She taught us classes on the virtues. So in particular, we were talking about the virtue of justice and giving somebody what is their due. It's what's owed to them. It's a matter of justice. And she was recounting the experience of one of her students who was a priest, saying how he felt that he was being so generous in his ministry. He says, I got 3 country parishes. I go to this one, I celebrate Mass, then I go over here and I hear confessions, and I celebrate Mass over here, and I'm just being so generous with serving all my people. And Sister was quick to say, well, wait a minute, Father. Are you assigned to these parishes? He said, well, yes, I am. She says, so this is your job? And he said, well, yeah. She's like, so you're not actually being generous. This is just a matter of justice. She says, you're just doing what you were told to do. She says, I'm glad that you feel happy about it. You can pat yourself on the back, but it's actually a matter of justice that you just do that. That you go, you celebrate Mass, you hear confessions, because these people, they need the sacraments, and you've been assigned there to provide for them. So I think it was a humbling moment for this priest, and it was definitely convicting for all of us seminarians in the room that there's a lot that's actually demanded of us just in the realm of justice. Just doing what we're told can actually stretch us in a lot of ways. It maybe doesn't even get us into that realm of generosity where we really want to be. But we have to first say, well, what does God ask of us? How are we actually being dutiful to the demands, the things that are actually here right in front of us? I had a spiritual director once say, she was a beautiful, holy woman. She said, sometimes things are just hard because they're hard. And it actually really freed me up because I was kind of in a place where I was stuck, and I thought, somehow I'm not living the Christian life well. Where's the back door? Where's the easy access to do this better? And that word of truth just freed me up, that sometimes things are just hard because they're hard. And we just have to be stretched in our Christian living. That's kind of what St. Paul is speaking about in the letter to Timothy today. He's saying, Timothy, you have to fan into flame again and again the gift of God. So there's this action that's required from Timothy. He actually has to ask again, Lord, fan into flame this gift of faith. There's not something passive in it. There's something that's active. He has to ask, Lord, come, fan this into flame. Help it to quicken, help it to deepen. Stretch me here. Paul is also using some battle imagery. He says we have this battle versus spirits and powers, and we have to be equipped in our Christian journey. But then Paul also speaks about hardship. He says, Timothy, you must bear your share of hardship for the gospel with the strength that comes from God. Bear your share of hardship with the strength that comes from God. And Paul is writing this letter to Timothy from prison. So he himself knows hardship. He knows what it is to be bound for the sake of the gospel. But he doesn't say, Timothy, this might happen to you. Eventually you might hit a roadblock. Things might get hard for you. He kind of just says it like this is just what it's going to be. And you have to be willing to bear it. Bear your share of hardship for the sake of the gospel with the grace that comes from God. There's going to be stretching. We just have to do what we're told. We have to allow ourselves to grow towards the Lord. Some of you I know have watched the series The Chosen. I finally just got caught back up. I finally watched the last episode of season 5, so I'm finally ready for the next season whenever it comes out. If you know where the season ends, it's Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he tells Peter, James and John, come in, wait here while I pray. And they say, Lord, we don't want to wait. We want to go in with you. And he says, will you just listen to me and do what I tell you? He says, just listen. Just stay there and pray. That's all I'm asking of you. And like the Lord does just ask us, and we just have to listen. Sometimes things are hard just because they're hard. But I want to maybe leave us with a question to ponder of how does this mentality of being a servant, we've just done all that the Lord has expected of us. We're unprofitable servants. We've just done what he's asked. How is that actually a good mentality for us so we can actually be open to how generous God is? So the spirit of being a servant, being humble, first, it could just go against any spirit of entitlement that we might have. And we know this from our life, but even our spiritual life. If we feel that we're entitled to certain things, that God has to do certain things for us in certain ways, maybe we're just we're not in a humble spirit to actually be able to receive. We think God has to do X, Y, and Z for me, but maybe I just need to submit myself in humility and say, Lord, all I am is just a servant, and you can actually do what you want. I know you're good. I know you're generous, but this way to approach you in humility is so important, because then it just takes away that spirit of entitlement. Lord, just do what you want. I trust you. I come before you. Do what you want. And also maybe it can help us with just the transcendence of God. It is true that God is so very close to us, so generous, so very kind and particular with each one of us. But he's also transcendent. He's the king of the universe. He created everything out of nothing. He holds us in existence. And if we don't ponder just how vast and amazing and how powerful God is, maybe sometimes we can just take him for granted. That I need to recognize, wow, that it's so amazing that God is so close, so generous with us, because he's so big, so powerful. How did these things come together? There's some tension there, and it's good to name the tension. It can actually make us more grateful for just how good and generous God is toward us. So as we continue to allow ourselves to be stretched, to be servants, just to say, Lord, I just want to show up. I want to do what you want. This is why the saints will say again and again that humility is the most important virtue in our Christian living. Humility is really the foundation upon which everything else is built, because it allows us to actually receive the generosity of God. Because it is true what he said to his disciples in the upper room at the Last Supper. He says, I don't call you servants anymore. I call you friends. Friends. Because I've shared with you everything that I've heard from my Father. But for the disciples to really receive that deep truth, they had to know what it's like to actually be a servant. To actually say, Lord, I want to show up. I want to do what I'm told. And then from there, receive that word. Come, sit higher up. Come to the banquet. Come and receive the immensity, the power, the generosity of God.